Good evening, Warriors. How we doing this evening? This is Vigor Warriors 2, and finally got done with staying the porch all day. It was 90 some degrees here in the Midwest, and got finished with that. So I figured I'd do a video before I wrap things up, doing some clothes and things like that. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your plan and your purpose. It's time of the year. It's not always easy with all the temptation and things out there and the crazy world that we live in. Thank you once again for the comments, likes. Okay, you can see paint on my fingers here. Stain. You can see all kinds of stuff that, thanks for all the comments, likes, subscriptions. Thank you, Jim, for those nice comments about how I look. I don't look too tremendous today, but normally we're pretty good shape. And then Curvy, thank you for your comments as well. So I appreciate all those. So guys, today, another topic I wanted to kind of talk about. I think friends and a few of the people have mentioned this, but we're talking about meditation. And maybe Alvin mentioned it too. I think Alvin mentioned it as well. So let's talk about retention and those kind of thoughts we have during meditation, why we use meditation. After I clean up a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and do meditation myself. Meditation has really helped me a great deal, and I think part of the meditation is trying to kind of focus. And I think starting this journey and being on this journey, it's made it a lot easier to go ahead and focus on things. And I think that's one of the benefits that we talk about. We talk about retention. It's the fact that you can actually go ahead and you have a stronger focus. Now, meditation, you're supposed to be able to focus. Now, I focus on my breathing. So I try to breathe in, focus on breathing out. And as your mind is focusing on that, you're taking away all the other temptations and things around you. And so this is a good strategy to use, especially if you're in a state where all of a sudden you see those birds flying over the head, the temptation birds, and you're trying to think to yourself, okay, what can I do to actually kind of move past this? Remember, guys, meditation signals to your brain those type of mental activities that will eventually lead to the physical activities. And meditation can get you kind of sitting in peace and tranquility so that you're not tempted to kind of react emotionally. A lot of times that in the past, I've kind of figured out that I would go into watching images, things like that, when I was depressed or something happened badly, and as a result of that, I tried to alleviate the stress by doing this. And it was okay for 5 seconds, and all of a sudden, then I felt profoundly guilty for all those years of things that I did. Now, funny thing is, after 775 days that we're on right now, I don't have that sort of feeling. Those feelings are not with me any longer. I think it's the strength of all the energy I'm keeping inside me. I don't have that depressed. I have not been depressed in a long time. And we have a lot of things we could be depressed about in this world, but I'm not depressed. And a lot of that is then keeping that confidence, that focus to be able to meditate. And so when you see yourself in situations that you could get, tempted, you're really kind of trying to use that meditation, the deep looking at your breath coming in and out, and refocusing that mind so it's not focusing on that temptation. And what it's doing, it's moving the temptation away. And so if you use this as a strategy, and you kind of develop it, it will give you a lot of peaceful type of situations. Whether you do it early in the morning, whether you do it late at night. Late at night, it's a little bit harder for me. Usually I'm pretty tired, and it's hard to actually go ahead and kind of meditate on things. But the idea that you really want to do is you want to try to keep the mental ideas away from temptation. And what you do then is basically say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and meditate a peaceful type of setting, and breathing in and out, slow, deep breaths, and you could see the breathing coming out of you. And so all of a sudden now you're taking your mental approach to a whole different level. Remember, the mind can't think about two things at the same time. So either you're going to think about this meditation, or you're going to direct your attention to something else. Now, a lot of people who are not on a plan, who are not on the retention plan, they fall into that distraction. One of the biggest benefits that I've seen of retention is the focus. You're not as distracted. You're staying on your purpose. You're staying on your goal. Because you're staying on your purpose, this now transfers to a lot of other activities and behaviors. So you get stuff done, when you got to get it done. And my energy level is a lot higher because I get things done. I feel confident. I like the fact that I'm getting things done and I'm moving in the right direction. But I'm also staying away from all those things that can, hurt you. I mean, excuse me, all these things we're talking about, when we talk about these things, we're talking about things that are going to stop you. Losing your energy 5 or 6 times a day, how can you actually go ahead and create anything when you're doing that? Can you imagine anybody, Tesla or anybody like that, Elon Musk, anybody developing any kind of invention when they're releasing 5 or 6 times a day? Now you're basically killing yourself. You're basically sucking all the energy out of you. Now, it's funny when you look at YouTube videos, these so-called doctors are sitting, you go ahead and release and release and release. I mean, it is, and I believe those for many, many years. But obviously they're trying to sell something. And obviously whatever science they have, they're interpreting in the way they want to interpret it. And we've seen this from all the crazy health situations going on, that information out there is not always accurate, even though it may be given by someone that you think is credible, is really not credible. And I think that's the problem. You have to kind of do your research yourself and look into yourself. Look at the sunburn I got, man, on my face and everything. But the idea that you want to do is you want to think in terms of getting away from the imaging and all these things. Fill your life with work, or in my case now I'm on vacation for a few weeks before school starts again and my consulting business starts again. So working on a house, putting a staining deck. I had to sand it. I had to go ahead and wash it down, and it took a while, but it got my mind totally off of anything else that would even go temptation-wise. And the same thing with anything, hobbies and another thing, right? Get yourself some hobbies and do those things. Now, of course, if you have one person, excuse me, I'm getting tired, one person that you want to spend time with, that's great. That's a hobby in of itself, right? And I do it with my wife, and we go out and do things, and that's great. But the thing what you want to do, guys, is you want to make it a lifestyle that you're accomplishing things. What do you want to call an alpha male, sigma male, whatever they want to call it. This is the person who's out there who can achieve things on their own. They're nice to have a partner. It's nice to have someone who is a partner, but they know what they're trying to accomplish. They know the goal, they know the plan, and they're trying to move in that direction. Okay? Regardless of what anybody else is saying. And when you have that type of mentality, you're not going to be sitting there losing energy 4 or 5 times a day. It becomes an addictive, disastrous type of thing. I don't care what they're saying on the YouTube videos and things like that. These people have no clue, or they're just not aware of what you have inside of you. I mean, obviously, if you think about it logically, what I was doing for 40-some years makes no sense whatsoever. And you guys are in your 20s, 30s, it's, stopping it right now. And like I said, I'm preaching to the choir because we're all part of the 1% club. But for those who are new, listening, if you have enough sperm to be able to create a child, and that's that powerful, imagine if you kept that in your body most of the time, except when you wanted to procreate or have children. Can you just imagine all that energy and all that nutrients and things inside of you? and how that can grow. And I'm 61, and I see the benefits in 775 days. I think someone joked the other day about Mike Tyson, and I'm going to try to get to 12 years. I think Mike had like 5 years, so I'm still 3 years away from that. But hopefully, crush fingers, pray, my friends, that we get moving that close. If we get close to Mike Tyson time, then that's excellent. I think you could see the effect it had on Mike Tyson, and he knows that his whole life changed around when he did that. And then once he stopped doing that, you know, and I think he had a couple women involved, and all of a sudden, you know, he wasn't as tough. And it shows you that a lot of athletes are told, don't have sex, don't do this kind of stuff before big events, because you want to save all that energy. And can you just imagine someone who has got that, transmuting that energy is like a warrior, a wolf, right? That person has so much energy inside of them that they can just go on for hours and hours and hours. And this is the kind of warrior you want to be. You want to make the choices. You don't want to be desperate for kind of things like that. And see, the other thing, guys, to focus on when you're doing meditation, all of a sudden, this becomes the important part of your life. Chasing women is not, and I'm just talking to the men here, but chasing women, you know, that's not that important anymore. And I know that's a hard thing because, you know, a lot of times we're focusing on this whole world on doing that and guys doing that, but that's really the wrong thing to do. It took me, you know, many years to realize that. But hopefully I'm giving you information now that you can do that. So, all right, well, anyway, I just want to do a short video because I promised I'd do something today. And but meditation is great. It gets your mind away from things. Once again, breathing inside and out, looking at your breath, and doing that is very important when it comes to trying to keep your mind off those type of things and keeping on your streak. And once you build that streak for a while, then it becomes a habit. And now it's harder and harder to break because of that. So, all right, so hopefully that helps, guys. Thank you for pitching in, talking about meditation. It's a great type of thing. I'll probably come back to it at another point as we go along. But until then, my friends, you have a good rest of your night, and I'll try to do one tomorrow morning if I can. And battle on. God bless you guys.